Welcome to episode 9? Episode 9 of our podcast, Synchronicity. You are tapping in to the root of the symmetry. I am ya boy, Tahuti Trismegistus. Chase, please come and fix this. Getting called away from my space by simulations every day. Like as a spirit, this is what I do as a spirit. All right, I'm Chase Callaway. I am called away from Mercury, which is not my space. I have many spaces. All right, I'm a big spirit. You feel me? I'm a big spirit. Like, I do a lot out here. I have to. And the more I do, the stronger I become and the bigger I get. The more the more a simulation pops up out of the universe and then sends out signals to Mercury. And the more I answer those signals and make bodies and exit my reality to go enter that reality so that I can get stronger and teach and share whatever I'm getting called away to teach and share in that realm, I, of course, level up, right? Like, that's how I've made Dissect the Dialect. Like, the only reason I'm able to perceive the alphabet in a way that no one else can is because I have an individual perspective, right? So here we are, 9th episode. 9 is all about you having your own individual eye. No one can see life quite like you. Why? Because you are an individual spirit. You are an individual space. So how could any other space see your own space? Like, it's not possible, actually. It's actually completely impossible for another spirit to see your spirit, for another space to see your space. It takes both of you as spaces creating the same kind of energy by vibrating at a similar enough frequency that allows you to build the structures which make connection possible. So this is what we're about to get into in this episode with Hermeticism and my individual perspective. Okay, so everything that I have developed with Hermeticism and Simicism is the natural expression of me using light to articulate how spirits use light to articulate their nothingness into somethingness. And this is why then all these religions and all these realms and realities, when I'm out here naturally teaching how spirits build life because they feel like communicating how free they are when they're alone, it then naturally becomes Judeo-Christian colonizers turning it into, okay, well, we hate being alone, so we're going to teach you that you need us. And then we're going to rape, enslave, colonize, and invade all of your lands with these ideas that we twisted from Hermes so that we can make you connect with us. And also, we're just going to steal his caduceus too. And we're just going to alchemize the whole environment into disgusting climate change heavy metal land. So this episode is dedicated to my 7 principles of Hermeticism and how these rules that I have created are, designed by me to articulate, to express the natural laws. Okay, so it's not about there's one God. All right, this is what Christians, this is what Jewish people, this is what just white supremacist religions in general work so hard to twist my teachings into. It's disgusting. Because they hate being alone with themselves. Again, it's that simple. If you love being alone, then you're only interested in creating your own heaven, in your own simulation, in cultivating your own garden. Again, your ST ability. Sex is not a sin when you are connecting with yourself. Christians and Jewish people view sex as a sin because they desire to rape indigenous peoples to create the life of their dreams, which then looks like stealing my principles and saying, hey, let's go invade indigenous worlds and force them to believe that the only way they can be happy is if they're enslaved to us. And it's just like the ultimate ugly, like super lost projections and twisted stuff. This is wild here. All right. So this is why I'm here. I hate this. I hate this. I'm very passionate about this. So I have a lot of heat and anger to be channeled into air here, right? Because you can't see my imagination. So this is the point of all of us as spirits creating water, because it allows us to cool down and make our imaginations actually practical. Okay? So this is my principles of Hermeticism. As far as like when you look them up and you see like the 7 main principles, it's me naturally articulating the natural limits that spirits put themselves in so that they can be unlimited inside of a form. We are unlimited. We're just using forms to be unlimited together, which has to look limited, or else we would encroach on all of each other's boundaries. We wouldn't, like, we would be encroaching on each other's consent, right? We'd be projecting into each other's space. Like, that's what fire is projection. So the moment you're trying to be like, oh, you're not actually Thoth. If you're a Thoth, then you would be able to imagine something and channel it into reality right now and just automatically change the world. Like, that's a Christian, a Jewish person got you in that lost idea. Like, it's literally just this. It's as simple as that. This is why I'm the God of communication. I'm the God of wisdom. All right. True wisdom is knowing that your communicative ability is so infinite. The only way that you could possibly connect your imagination with other spirits is to get trapped, to get lost in the vibe and eat the same words that they are and subconsciously build the same connections with all the same lights. This is why it takes me being 24 to do this right now. So I've gone through this life for 24 years. I'm now 6 years old in that way. So this is me having sex internally, this podcast. This is me in my ST ability, right? You are listening to a vibrational form of the Callaway Caduceus right now. This is me bringing my serpents up into my tree, up into my trunk, so my wings can take flight and I can fly in my mind. And now I'm channeling all the ways in which my mind is flying right now based on how I'm having sex with myself back into Earth. So I'm flying inside, I'm bringing my ability to have sex into my own space, cultivate my tea repeatedly, my tree repeatedly by just wrapping my S around my T. So now I have my ST ability, which allows me to spur the wings, the mental gymnastics wings, become a bird in my mind and fly away from my body. And now, as my mind is flying out of my body, I'm seeing all the lights in the universe. I'm able to be my bird. I'm the ego, the eagle. My ego, the eye of Ra in a cell, my ego desires to see everything so that I can communicate about it and connect everyone so we're never actually lost. Because the definition of being lost is not thinking that you are creating your imagination or not thinking that you're creating your ability to be aware. So now you're using your ability to be aware to react to all the awareness around you. And if all the awareness around you is also limited, you're in hell. You're in hell. And then it takes me getting called here to then enter hell. And now I can be like, wow, it's really bad. You know, like, wow, it's really bad. And let me talk about how bad it is so that we can consciously communicate into a better world. Because the fact is, this world's so bad because people are just so unconscious in their ability to communicate. We are taught to, right? This English language is a weapon that's forged against indigenous peoples to enslave and rape us, to steal everything that we create so that we feel like the only way we can be happy is to serve people who hate us. So, this episode, we are about to dissect, just get into like the real subconscious meanings, and like you're tapping into the root of the symmetry. So you're only going to get Hermeticism and Symmetrism and life explained from the messenger of Mercury in this way. Like, it's not going to be anywhere else on the internet. Like, so everything on the internet about the principles of Hermeticism, right? They're cute. Let's make them hot. Crying, I sema my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying. I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying so high. Through the astral plane, macabre brain, I built your game, we're not the same. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying too. Relay a word, those who listen heard, we make our vibe from deep inside. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying back into my space, called away with haste, so I'll fall with grace to thrill my chase. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Water my earth, I know my worth, my soul gives birth to all my work. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying, so I can't connect with those you neglect. Time to correct how we reflect. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Who flood the sea with energy from my inner chi? I'm free to be me. I fell to inspire you to say how to fly higher too. Fly higher too. Fly higher too. Hang out with the family in your true spot. Don't be sad if you forgot that you've got a spirit strut and you're not truly the spot. Flip a script and break the facade. Take a trip and go abroad. When you're brave, they will apply. We get in touch with your true God. I've been fighting. I've been vibing when I'm dancing with demons, reversing curses and scheming. They be fiending for reasons to change our sins like the seasons. So I've been falling, cause y'all been calling my mind out of my spirit. I feel it best when I'm near it, but y'all cry for help and I hear it. So Hermes flies out to stare it in a new healthy direction. Will grow through natural connection. So I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C to level up like it's nothing, to turn into something, to bust into function, bumping and pumping with all the wisdom I'm gushing. And when I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C, I fell to inspire you. Simmer higher. I simmer in the skies, I triple in my chi, then I open up my eyes to my tree. I balance in my seasons. I mother the cohesion that keeps us intertwined. To my tree, balance in my seasons, and I don't need a reason to fulfill my desires. To my trees. Okay, the 7 Hermetic principles. So, there's many ways I can go with this, right? So, I mean, I would esoterically need multiple mouths to say everything I want to say. So, I have to learn how to keep things in points. And I get better at that every day. Because I think in a circle, right? I think in air. I don't think linearly. So, when I'm doing my best to communicate everything linearly, because that's literally every time I speak, you know, it's a stone being cast out of my mouth in a straight line towards you. So we're vibing based on me projecting out, and then you're reflecting on my projection, and then you project out, I reflect on your projection. This is why air is balance, fire is projection, water is reflection, air is what makes life possible. Right? We are all projecting and reflecting so that we can balance, and by balancing, this is how we create Earth. So you project, I reflect, we balance, and now we settle on something structured. We can come to an agreement, right? A conclusion, right? So that's the point of Earth. This is how all bodies are built. We've covered this in the Magic Square talk and everything. Anything that you can see, every structure that you can see, every structure that you can touch was built through symmetry's cycle of 3. It was built through a spirit projecting out an idea, reflecting / connecting with that idea, and then balancing it in a way that allows it to settle inside of its structure. And then we do that repeatedly to be able to create an arm, a heart, a leg, a body, all these organs that make up the body, right? All these structures are constantly, they are all matter that is constantly transforming yet settling from how we are communicating our energy. And of course, we know all of our energy is vibrating at a certain frequency, and our frequency is what separates all of us as spirits. My frequency, my idea of freedom is not the same for you. Like, this is like, especially it's obvious here in this world where it's so ran by backwards white supremacy. It's weird that most people think that freedom is to actually be a slave to the people who are taking your freedom. They're like, okay, I'll have more freedom as long as I do whatever the people who are enslaving me tell me to do. So this is how logic works, you know, like anyone can say anything and make anything work, because that's what life is. Like, as we have all these historical representations of how spirits literally use light, they use logic to make their feelings matter. So that's what, I mean, everything with Hermeticism and Cynicism is about. No matter what you're doing as a spirit, you are finding a way to use your light, to use your logic to make your feelings matter. That's the only reason that you exist. That's the only reason you matter to yourself. That's the only reason you have a body. So the only reason you can observe or consciously be aware of literally anything in any way, shape, or form is only because you are vibrating at a certain frequency to create energy that you feel like expresses yourself and allows you to be aware of something outside of you. And now you're able to connect with other spaces, right? So you're not in control of what I'm saying. You have no idea what I'm about to say next. I could go off the wall and start saying some wild stuff that actually traumatizes your heart, brain, and guts, you know, and and it takes me as a spirit being empathetic with myself to know that I don't want to project that out, because I don't want other people to connect with that, because I don't want you to feel like that, because I want you to feel awesome. And then that's where I, as a Virgo, I'm more than happy to get super negative about anything, because negativity is necessary. If we ignore the things we don't want to look at, that is, here we are, the definition of lost. Because there's really no such thing as what you don't want to look at that point, right? Like, because of course there are things that you don't want to look at, but the fact is, the moment that you decided there's something you don't want to look at, that's you figuring out what you want. And now you as a spirit are deciding to connect with something other than nothing, which is how lostness happens in general. When you start to let your emotions be dictated by what you're seeing instead of nothingness, instead of just creating your emotions. So when we are conditioned by white supremacy to be so reactive to the world, then this is where our spiritual power is completely dampened. Completely. Our spiritual power is gone, because spiritual power is creating something from nothing. The power that you have as a spirit is literally, as I'm saying, turning your feelings into matter. Your body, physical representation of your feelings mattering. Every day you wake up, you know, you dress your body, you clean your body, maybe you exercise a little bit, maybe you like to take care of your body, right? Because we're literally in a world that works so hard to destroy our bodies and create health problems inside of us, that it's a challenge. We have to consciously work harder to be healthier in this world, because white supremacy is using my caduceus to poison the environment so diligently, because it allows them to profit, right? That's their idea. Like, okay, we can build a structure off of this simulation by destroying it, and then making everyone inside of that simulation build us up. So then that's literally, I mean, what the Jews and Christians have been doing. It's just raping, destroying indigenous peoples, but making sure that they leave enough so that when indigenous peoples are building themselves up, we're using the English language, right? So now I'm building up the world of the colonizers who have forced me to speak this language, all because I have to communicate, right? I have to communicate to you with something. And if we both If you don't know the same language that I know, like, it doesn't matter. Me as Hermes, if I come into this realm with my whole own language, what good is that going to do? Right? Like, how am I going to communicate with you if my ideas are actually completely individual to me? I'm going to tell you it's not possible in all facets of the universe. Okay, so here's the practicality of life. Elements. When you as a spirit are making your feelings matter, this is the point of you using elements. And this is what the magic square is and everything we've covered, with you being nothing, first creating fire, and then creating water, and then making air, and then making earth. And now all of that is energy. That's 5. And then science, right? We're in the scientific revolution, whatever. They twist Hermeticism. They take all of my teachings of the elements, and they're like, okay, cool. So we're creative because we stole from a creator. Now let's make sure that we can consume other creators by twisting it into something that makes everyone feel more stupid and dumber than us. And now we have the periodic table, where instead of fire, water, air, and earth, and we can intuitively understand how spirits use light to create life, we have a hyper logical, hyper numerical, hyper thoughtful, and thus chi blocking system of all these periodic elements, talking about just a bunch of made up stuff, you know, like, because then it's all just like hyper detailed categories on something that was already working when it was simple. So you're tapping into the root of the symmetry because we're getting it simple. CY, simple. CY. We see why we're alive, right? The periodic table doesn't want us to see why we're alive. Science, white supremacists, Christians, Jewish people, and when I say people, of course, I mean the actual religion, because it's way bigger than anyone alive right now. That's what, obviously, like, that's where you can't get triggered by anything I'm saying. You just got here. You feel me? Like, I don't even care if you're 80 years old or like 200 years old. This predates you. You, like, I'm old, so I'm speaking from a place of not personal. I'm not speaking like, if you are someone who subscribes to Judaism or Christianity, like, I get it. I mean, I've been a Christian most of my life. I was forced to. When you're born into an environment and your spirituality is dictated by the environment, then you're going to make it work with whatever religion you have. That's why I'm so passionate about talking about the truth of how these religions colonized and invaded indigenous lands to even become matter in the first place. And then where their ideas coming from. Again, me. Colonizers. Crusaders. They want to consume everything they can see. Here I am, Chase Clarence Calloway. It's all that C energy. It really is just about that communication, right? Like, we see that spirits build life through communication, and you can't say otherwise. You are literally going to prove how infinitely unintelligent you are the moment you try to possibly say that life is not built through communication. The moment you try to look at plants growing and you're like, yeah, but it's all one God. Dude, get out of my space with that. I'm saying this because it's really important to be aware of this. Of course, when we are getting into anything with spirituality, anything, because you are an individual. That's why I have to really drill this in. The moment someone tries to tell you that you're not an individual, that is another individual who wants you to connect with them. Because guess what? Like, I mean, I've been through this. Like, this is what my life has been. You know, I'm being forced to fast. I'm being forced to worship Jesus. But then the moment I start fasting like Jesus, now all of a sudden the people who love and support him, all the people who worship him, the system who worships him, doesn't want me to do what he does. And then I have to be more in my logical individual bag of, hold up, how come the system that's telling me to give my entire life to Jesus because he's better than me doesn't want me to do what he actually did? How come all these people who believe that they should sacrifice their life to Jesus to be happy aren't even willing to fast for 3 days, let alone 20? let alone 30, let alone 40 like him. When in the Bible, Jesus literally, the story is that he needed to fast alone to communicate with God. How am I not supposed to be inspired by that? And how are you going to tell me that I'm not supposed to do that when you're the one who's forcing this story into my space? Like, and this is like so gross. It's so weird. It's just the how the Americas have been built is so nasty and disgusting. Like, for you to come into a land where people are fasting and you're like, well, we already sacrificed someone who fasted, so now we get to rape you in the name of our God. And we're going to lie about it because this is what love is. And then I can talk to my spiritual roommate from Cali when he's filling my head up with, oh, well, it's okay, Chase. The world will be good as long as we keep loving. Like, bro, it is your white supremacist version of love that has resulted in the rape and cannibalistic consumption of my family. And of course, then, when I'm telling you that, you don't care, right? You don't care because you're literally on the other side. You're the part of the culture that is reliant on consuming me. And you love consuming me so much that you just call it love. And so now, no matter how much I talk about how negative the effects of you raping me are, all you're going to talk about is how much you love to do it. And you're going to keep doing it. And now I have to be an intelligent spirit to know how to build better boundaries and protect myself from rapists. Protect myself from white supremacist Christians and Judeo-colonizers who want to steal my creations as Hermes so that they can colonize my land of Teotihuacan, of Thoth, of Tahuti, that 2 energy, the stuff that we built here in America, so that they can manifest their new world. And it's all just because they're not happy alone. And when spirits are not happy alone, they destroy themselves, and then they constantly need to spread out to other spaces to destroy other places. This is now why these same entities that have continuously used the teachings of Hermes to rape indigenous peoples into virtually non-existence and create climate change now believe the only solution for human life is to somehow twist this earth into metal that allows them to go interstellar and take their bodies to other planets where they can then just do the same exact thing that they did to us here, there. It is beyond disgusting. Like, I need to make new English words for just how disgusting this system is. These European, British, Judeo-colonial structures that are weaponizing spirituality to say spirituality is not real. Like, I would have to make up whole new words to describe how much I abhor these spirits. Okay? So, and of course, these spirits, like, they're so disgusting. The only way they can make me connect with them is to come into my space and tell me that I'm not God and that I need to serve them if I'm going to really get connected to God. Because they're not God. They don't feel creative. So they're using their creative power to come consume my creations and tell me that I'm not creative so that they can keep consuming me. It is beyond disgusting. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. So clearly my imagination separates me from everyone else because no one could possibly imagine how angry I am about this because no one understands or understands. No one can see what I see. No one can see how what I have created has been used to consume. When everything that I create is only meant to help you create. Anytime I'm creating, it's so you can create. But of course, white supremacist entities who don't feel creative and they want to consume you, they're going to see what I create and then use it to consume. The caduceus, again, medical industry. I create the caduceus to show you, wow, look, you create your body by having sex with yourself. And now that's a structure that you can use to take flight in your mind and then channel your ability to communicate into the realm that you find yourself in. And then the medical industry is like, yeah, cool. So we're going to force everyone to sit in school all day, every day, so we can actually destroy their bodies. We're going to destroy their spines. So now they're forced to create health problems that we're going to use the caduceus to harvest. And now we're going to keep creating more and more health problems the more you suffer from them. Each time you go to the hospital, we're about to experiment on you with Hermes caduceus. We are about to harvest your chi with the symmetry, because that's our version of creativity as Judeo-Christian colonizers. So this is why I'm here. Literally, this is why I'm here, speaking English as Hermes. Okay, it takes me doing this, like, because I'm the individual spirit that great power comes great responsibility. All right, and responsibility literally means your response ability. So literally, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, this is why we can just Google me and see all my past lives. We can just go on Chase Your Genes, see my past lives explained way more clearly and concisely than Google ever will. Because I'm literally the spirit who is creating myself. So I have to live out my own expression of me, and thus the people who find that valuable are going to connect with it and then consume it and colonize it and turn it into the medical industry that we have today. Turn it into Christianity, turn it into Judaism, turn it into just all these different religions and all these different spiritual systems that are built off of Hermeticism. Because Hermeticism is the spiritual system of how you as a spirit build your organ system in general. Like, how do you as a spirit create a system that allows you to connect your infinite chaos with other spirits? So this is why everything that you can see is structures. Like, everything has to be grounded, or else it's not going to be a thing. And then it's just about these levels of groundedness. So my Hermetic principles are me creating 7 laws that I feel like expresses very concisely how spirits use the number 7, use consciousness to create 8, to create the universe, to create connections that now we can all observe, and that's the 9. So you are the 9, you are the perspective, using your 7. So the 9 would then be, one could say the higher self. You are your own higher self, using your own consciousness, your own awareness, to create connections that then express your subconscious. And the more you can connect with other spirits to create and express your subconscious, the more you're able to learn about who you are, build the life of your dreams, and shit's lit.